They say that I know SEO 100% fully. I feel like that they're lying.
What's some of your most successful projects?
The company has made 300 grand last year. Some of my biggest SEO wins has been like,
what does the marketing process look like? How do you start?
Double the spend on SEO. They claim they're SEOs and they just don't know what they're doing. As soon as somebody hears like an accent, they're like, I don't want to speak to this guy. One strategy that's working super well is ranking websites. Because
how many websites are you actually handling at the moment?
Maybe 800 websites that the team handle. I want 20% of your business. How to market yourself, how to get clients, how to retain clients. That website is going to be earning 25, 30K very, very quickly. The hardest part when it comes to building a successful rank and rent agency is obviously every single website that we build out typically costs us about 10 grand.
Hello everyone, I'm Yash the side from SEO Unleashed with Yash, and today we have a special guest with us. His name is Kasra Dash. I'll let him introduce himself. So Kasra, first of all, welcome to the show, man.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks again for showing up. I really appreciate the time you took. So yeah, let's start with tell the viewers about you, mate. Since how long you have been doing SEO, some of your most successful projects, and yeah, what are you up to at the very moment?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I've only been doing SEO for like 2 years, but it's actually been a lot longer now. It's probably coming up to maybe 6 years now, 6 or 7 years. And obviously, like with everything, at the beginning, I wasn't as great, and obviously I've been able to improve year on year, day on day. Feel like I'm still learning. I think if you speak to any SEO and they say that I know SEO 100% fully, I feel like that they're lying. But I think with everything or with anything in life, you just improve every day. So even if, say, for example, you go to the gym, like you just keep on improving every single day. You're able to lift more weights than you were able to maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And then after like maybe initially, like I got into SEO with like e-commerce and web design and stuff like that. And obviously with that, I've just been able to expand on that. And then
coming to the question again, what's some of your most successful projects that you would say, that this made me some big bucks? What are those projects?
There's definitely been a lot. I think that in terms of SEO, if you're trying to make money with SEO, it's always better to like own the actual service or product that you're delivering. So, and what I mean by that is like some of my biggest SEO wins has been like when I've been able to invest in a company because they're just bad at digital marketing, maybe not even just SEO. So like for example, I recently invested in a couple brick and mortar style businesses. One was like an accountancy firm, and that accountancy firm, it was like they'd done like a really good job as being accountants. But if say for example, even if like you're an electrician or you're a plumber or you're doing HVAC or whatever, right? Typically, if you actually go to that course, like let's say, for example, if you want to train to become a lawyer, right, that might be like 4 or 5 years out of your life. You're going to university, you're going to college to actually learn how to be proficient in law, understanding the law. But what they don't teach you at law school is how to market yourself, how to get clients, how to retain clients, how to advertise your business. Right now, where my focus is I'm trying to find more of these businesses where they might be really good accountants or really good lawyers or really good HVAC installers or whatever the industry is. There's not really a set industry that I'm like, okay, I only want this particular industry. Whatever the industry is, as long as they provide a seriously good product or service, I'm then looking at like, right, okay, if I was to, let's say, invest maybe 10 or 20% of my money into that company and buy 20% of that company and take the SEO on myself, maybe even not just the SEO, maybe even like the Facebook ads or the PPC or whatever that the case is, what you typically find is a lot of business owners are really good at their business, but they're not good at advertising. So that's where my recent biggest wins have been. Like, for example, Searcheroo. is a link building agency. They provide a seriously good service, and I decided to actually invest into that company. Auto blogging again, Vaibhav, really nice guy, but he realized that selling to the UK industry, it's very hard. As soon as somebody hears like an Indian accent, they're like, "Ah, I don't want to speak to this guy." It's not a nice thing to say, but that's the entire like UK and kind of mindset. So myself and a couple others, we invested into auto blogging for that reason. We knew that it's a really good product. It's a really good SaaS tool for writing content and stuff, but the actual advertising and the marketing sucked. So we've been able to kind of come in as like the CMOs of the business, and we're like, right, okay, we need to invest the marketing budget on this or that, or in some cases, it might not even necessarily always be SEO. Like a lot of people think that when I take over a business or when I invest in a business, the only thing that I invest into is SEO, and it's not actually the case. It's we try to vary it up. Like for example, if say for example I invest in a locksmith company, right? There's no point doing Facebook ads, because if you're locked out your house, you're not going to be scrolling on Facebook. You're just going to search like locksmith. Whereas with, say, for example, something like a SaaS, especially if it's not as known, like you've probably heard and seen Surfer SEO, right? They just don't do only SEO. They obviously have got the YouTube channel, they've got affiliates, they have got YouTube videos. They're doing PPC, they're doing Facebook ads, and also they're doing some SEO over there as well. So we kind of take marketing as a holistic approach, not just looking at in terms of SEO. That's for the business side. And then prior to the businesses, there's maybe been something that only within like the past 2-3 years I've started investing into actual businesses. Before that, I made a lot of money on affiliate SEO. I feel like everybody has kind of done that. And now a lot of people are selling up on the affiliate side of stuff. So affiliate SEO, also done a lot on ranking rents as well. It's not something that I particularly run nowadays from a day to day. Like the team's kind of running that side of stuff. It's self-sufficient now, and with like all of the SOPs and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I've made a lot of my money in SEO.
Gotcha. A follow-up question on this. How do you find businesses worth investing in, and how much share do you usually take for business, for marketing that business?
So that's a good question. The simple answer is it's very hard to just go in and say like, hey, Yash, I want 20% of your business, right? Because a lot of people will just tell you like, no. So it all comes down to like relationships. So for example, if you've got a lot of case studies, that can definitely help. If you have worked on that relationship for like 2-3 years, it's not like a lot of people think that it's kind of similar to buying a business, and it's not. I don't want to buy a business. Sure. I want to invest in a business where the owner still stays within that business. Because, for example, like if we take a look at the accountancy example, if I had just bought that accountancy firm, right? I'm not a chartered accountant. I don't know how to like actually provide the service. With that accountant, they do have like I think they've got 3 chartered accountants, which they've been to like university and they've done all the actual accreditations and stuff, and that itself just takes maybe like 4 or 5 years to complete. So in that case, I was able to basically get 20% of that accountancy firm. There's other times where it might be a little bit less, it might be a little bit more. The actual percentage kind of comes down to how likely you are to get results. Like in local, you probably know yourself, there's a lot of industries where you can absolutely take over. And when I say take over, having like 6 or 7 different websites for that one vertical. So if there's a space like that and you know that there's going to be search volume and stuff, and if you have the money to actually invest into that business, then I would obviously say try to get a much higher percentage. Whereas if, say, for example, you're like, well, actually, let's say the lifetime value of that business is really high, and you're like, well, actually, do you know what? I'm happy with like maybe a 5% of that business, because the lifetime value of a client for that business might be like 12K, it might be 15 grand. And you're like, well, if I'm able to get, like, let's say 10 clients a month or 10 new business sales for that company every single month, that's going to add up very quickly, even if you are at, like, let's say 5%. So it completely comes down to like how much you've got in the bank, how much you feel like you can actually change that business. And again, in some cases, it also comes down to the actual business owner themselves. Like, let me give you an example. Recently, we invested in a business and the business owner was going through a divorce. So they obviously wanted more money out of that business. So they were happy to sell more of a chunk of that business. So there's all of these different scenarios where it's like, well, like, for example, in some cases you might be able to get 40% because the business owner wants to semi-retire and go live on an island, right? But in some cases you might not be able to get that 40%. You might only be able to get like 10-15%, because a lot of business owners, or the ones that are maybe a little bit younger, maybe like same age as us, let's say, or maybe a few years older than us, maybe they're in their 40s or something. Some of them, they still have like the growth mindset, and those guys, it's going to be very hard to get 40% of their business, especially if they've been growing that business for, like, let's say 2 or 3 years. So that's another thing to take into consideration as well when you are looking to invest into a business. Yeah, it's a moving factor, but to get more of these clients, I think that a good starting point is actually, if, say, for example, you're an SEO agency, actually providing like seriously good results for these business owners. Because in some cases, we've got some businesses that will come to us now and they're like, right, we don't want to lose this traffic source, and we're afraid that you might like switch us off, or you might, like, let's say, for example, if it's a ranking rent, they're actually like scared at night because they think that we're going to change the website to somebody else that might like actually pay us more for that ranking rent website. So in that case, in some cases, we can get a very, very cheap percentage of that business, like on a like a seriously low multiple. But I think that if like the guys that are listening to this, if you want to invest in a company, you need to know like their exact numbers. You need to know like how much debt they're in, how much, like, what the actual end goal is for that business. Because in, for example, the UK, like the older, on average, I'm talking averages here, not everybody, but the older generation, they don't want to grow their business. They'd much rather they've already got like the I don't know, the 10 staff. They don't want a bigger office because, again, you can directly impact that business by the amount of traffic and the amount of leads and the amount of how well your SEO campaign or your PPC or your Facebook campaign is. And in some cases, if, say, for example, it is a brick and mortar style business, and you might pitch to them saying like, hey, I can get you like 10 more leads a month. And they're like, do you know what, Yash, I'm happy with getting 2 leads, because if I get 10 leads, I'm going to need to get more sales staff, or I'm going to need to get a bigger office. So in some cases, like, some business owners, like they just kind of want a maintainable traffic growth. In some cases, people, obviously the younger, the hungrier business owners, they want like an exponential growth. So again, it comes down to the actual business owner themselves, what their goals and aspirations are.
Makes perfect sense. Once you start with working with those businesses, what does the marketing process look like? How do you start with their marketing site?
Yeah, really good question. It honestly comes down to the type of business. Like, we'll run through a couple different types, right? So locksmith, obviously, you're going to probably want to do like SEO and PPC, because that's probably like the 2 biggest money makers. Whereas something like photography, like let's say I partner up with a photography business, they're probably going to be a lot more visual. So you might want to even maybe run Instagram, like Instagram social, Instagram ads, or meta ads as well, like something like that. It solely comes down to the type of business. Like recently, with when we invest into Searchery, obviously we're trying to grow the actual SEO traffic, but the funny thing is you speak to a lot of link building agencies, and they get a lot of their new clients from actual Facebook ads, like being able to do videos like this, for example, podcasts and videos on YouTube. So that kind of works. Honestly, it comes down to the type of business. Like, if obviously you have got the budgets, I would recommend doing everything, like doing a holistic marketing approach. So if you can get, let's say, reels on your Instagram, reels on your Facebook, reels on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, then doing the videos on YouTube, like what you're doing, like what I'm doing, embedding the videos, doing case studies, like just trying to be holistic if you've got obviously the budget. Whereas if, say, for example, you don't have the budget, let's say it's a much tighter budget, let's say you've only got $2,000 a month to spend, what I would then look at is see where their traffic or their actual highest converted leads have come from. For example, if you're working with a business, and this is another thing that a lot of businesses, they don't do, you should be tracking KPIs, right? So what a lot of business owners that I've spoken to in the past, their biggest pain point or their biggest issue within the business is, it's not necessarily the SEO or the PPC or whatever, it's the actual tracking of that. So they don't know if that, like, let's say, for example, we are a double glazing window company. We fit new windows, right? That company might be advertising on 3 different billboards across the UK. They might be doing SEO, they might be doing Facebook ads, they might also be doing PPC, and they might also be doing some Facebook social, right? But then once you ask them, like, hey, where have you got like these 3 leads from? They just don't know. They're like, well, I don't know if it was the billboard. I don't know if it was PPC campaign. I don't know if it was the SEO. Trying to drill down and figure out, right, okay, this company has made, let's say, 300 grand last year. Where did this 300k come from? Was it the PPC? Was it the SEO? Was it the Facebook ads? And let's say if it was the SEO, I would then try to figure out, okay, how much of the £300,000 or $300,000 revenue came from Facebook ads. If I see that that's like a negative ROAS, return on ad spend, I would then be like, right, okay, well, why are we spending £1,500 on Facebook ads? Let's maybe just keep a retargeting campaign, and let's maybe invest out of that 1,500, we'll reduce that to £500 or $500, and we'll double the spend on SEO, because that's where 80% of the leads last year came from. So it's all about drilling down and figuring out like your numbers. Again, when it comes to investing, it's very much a numbers game. Like, a lot of people invest in stocks, a lot of people invest in like crypto and stuff. It's the exact same when it comes to business. As soon as you are able to figure out how much your return on ad spend is, how much your CAC is for acquiring new clients, it becomes seriously easy. Because then you can take a look at a business and you're like, right, well, they're spending, let's say, £800 to acquire a new client. If I can reduce that to, or if I know I can reduce that to £500, well, we can double the numbers very, very quickly and very, very easily.
Exactly. A really good point. I have heard you handle and do lots of ranking and stuff. Is that true?
Yeah.
Tell us about that stuff, mate, and the process, from starting it to ranking and banking.
Yeah, so that was a seriously slow burner. Like, a lot of people think that it took maybe like 2-3 months to set this entire SOP up, and it's not actually the case. I still think I'm learning on that every single day. A few things for like the actual, more of like the SOP side of stuff. And I've said this before in multiple podcasts, and maybe people misunderstand this part. So I've said on other podcasts that like I have a very, very lean website. So what I mean by that is the websites that the team build out, I don't need any more involvement in it. Like, I think the last time I actually opened up one of those websites might have been like 3 years ago. Like, it's just set and forget. It's very easy for a non-web developer to develop a website on that framework. And the reason for that is because everything from start to finish is custom coded. So we've got like custom theme that probably took maybe, I want to say it took probably about 18 months to perfect that. We've got custom plugins. There's plugins that we just don't like. All of the plugins on that website, it's all either coded by myself or coded by a developer that that works for me. And again, that took a very serious long amount of time to perfect those plugins, because the first time round we didn't use custom themes, we didn't use custom plugins, we just used like Elementor, and we used like plugins that's on the WordPress repo. And after maybe building out 230 websites, all of the websites got hacked. So that was really annoying to wake up to. But then we were like, right, okay, we've learned from this mistake. How can we prevent that in the future? So we were like, right, okay, well, let's reload the gun. Let's obviously figure out why these websites got hacked. It turned out to I think at the time there was a big Elementor hack at the time. Now even though Elementor looks really nice, don't get me wrong, the design, it's super easy for somebody that knows web design to use, but it's not super SEO friendly and stuff. So on big projects like that, I particularly don't like using it. If it's like something like my own personal website, I'll use it, because nobody even goes to my personal website. I'm not trying to rank my personal website, if that makes sense. With the ranking rents, it's different. Like, they get a lot of traffic. So for stuff like that, we've tried to keep it lean. Custom plugins, custom theme, everything like that's custom. And the SOP, I think it's literally like maybe a 65 step process. So even if somebody was to leave the company, it would be very easy to retrain somebody back up on that SOP, because everything's well documented, like all annotated. We've got videos for every single step.
Excellent.
Then, obviously, I always say ranking the website's the easy part. Mm-hmm. Finding the client is the hard part. Like, you obviously know yourself, like finding somebody that is willing to invest into SEO, pretty difficult.
Definitely.
Mainly because there's a lot of cowboys. There's a lot of people that they claim they're SEOs and they just don't know what they're doing. Like they don't do any keyword research. They might just send you like, there's been a recent client came to us for SEO work, and their previous SEO agency, all they done, bearing in mind they were charging them $1,500, and all they done was they sent a rank tracking report at the end of the month, and they didn't do any work. Like, that's it. Yeah. Yes, you were ranking position 3 for that keyword, and guess what? You're ranking position 3 still for that keyword. And you've got like all of these different issues when it comes to trying to sell SEO. But I think the hardest part when it comes to building a successful rank and rent agency is obviously trying to find that perfect client that is looking to grow their business. They're willing to spend that money with you. They actually have the trust with you. So, for example, case studies help a lot in that case. Doing videos like this obviously helps a lot. Like, for example, they can understand who Kasra Dash is, or they can understand who you are. Anything like that. Anything that's basically helping you come across as an authority in the space. Because again, like, say for example, if I truly didn't know what I was doing, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you. So it's very, very easy, I feel, to pick up on people's lies on videos and stuff. So doing video content, that definitely helps. And then actually picking the correct industries. This is something that, like, again, I wouldn't say I'm perfect at this, because we still have like industries that we go into and we're like, right, we'll be able to smash this industry out of the park. And we're like, do you know what? It's not worth it. Like, for example, a lot of people think that plumbing is a good industry to do a rank and rent in, and we've actually got a website in plumbing, and what you actually end up finding is that you'll get Sandra down the road that's got like a leaky tap or a leaky shower, and that might be like a £50 fix, and if you're only getting maybe, I don't know, 10% of that, you're getting £5. Like, the £5 isn't going to change anything in my life, if that makes sense. You need to think a lot bigger ticket, a lot higher ticket. Obviously, one strategy that you can do for that is load up Yellow Pages or Yelp and look at their ranking keywords and sort by cost per click on Ahrefs. And that would give you a good indication of what is like a good industry to do a rank and rent in. Like, you probably know yourself, HVAC, for example, in America, super lucrative. However, on the flip side of that, it is very competitive as well. So obviously with cost per click, it comes with a higher competition, like personal injury law, right? That's like
Super.
yeah, it's probably like one of the most lucrative industries that everybody is trying to get into, and it is super competitive. One thing, as a rule of thumb, if you're trying to get into that, what I would recommend instead is trying to find like a middle ground between the two. Obviously, don't go for something that's like super easy to rank, but also don't go for something that's super hard to rank. Like lawyers in New York, pretty difficult to rank that. It's probably going to be like maybe an 18, 20-month job to do that, especially if it's a new website. Is there something that you can do for lawyers that's still within the New York space that can earn you money a lot quicker? So, for example, again, I'm just going to throw a few different sub-industries within law. There might be like, for example, family law or immigration law, certain keywords like that might be a little bit easier. Like, again, if you guys are trying to replicate this in the US, one strategy that's working super well is ranking Spanish websites. Because again, I think I don't know the exact number on this, but Spanish is obviously the second most spoken language in America. So if you can become really good at Spanish SEO in America, you can earn a lot of money doing that. And again, that's something that a lot of people, they don't do. But again, it's a very easy and quick win.
That's a fantastic point, actually. Yeah, and highlighting your point that finding a sub niche within a niche is something that's super important, because that gives you pretty easy competitive easy stuff. And yeah, a question on how many websites are you actually handling at the moment? Talking about the rank and rent stuff.
Sorry, say that again. Your voice cut out.
How many websites are you actually handling at the moment?
A serious amount. So I'm not doing the actual handling. It's the team, but it's upwards of maybe 800 websites that the team handle.
That's huge. That's huge. What would be some of the niches you could suggest to anyone actually watching this?
Do you know what? It's a lot of sub industries. Like, for example, one industry that isn't a sub industry that does really well is tree surgeons. I didn't think that would be like a good industry, but again, it's performing really well. Apparently, a lot of people want their trees removed. So there's certain industries like that. There's another industry that works very well in the US is pool cleaning, especially more so in like states like California and Florida, for example, because they just a lot of the houses, like any house more than like 400K in Florida, which is a significant chunk. They just have a pool. You've got certain things like that. Cleaning does really well. Yeah, there's so many.
So you usually find a middle ground in the size ticket, right? For instance, you usually deal with anything between $200 to $2,000, right?
In terms of what do you mean?
In terms of ticket size of that industry, for instance, cleaning services usually they don't cost much, $300, $400, depending on obviously the size of the.
So cleaning depends. So if you do like residential cleaning, like for example in the UK, you've got like oven cleaning. Oven cleaning sucks because it's kind of like the leaky tap scenario where it's like maybe £40 to get your oven clean, whereas commercial office cleaning, that's like super lucrative, like, and it's seriously easy to rank for as well. You'd be very surprised in that industry. Whereas with like a domestic cleaning, like if I wanted to get my house cleaned, right, it might be like, I don't know, £150, £100. I'm still not seriously interested in that because I would need to get a lot of leads for that to make it worthwhile. Because bearing in mind, like my house, right, let's say it's £150 or £100 to come and clean my house, and it's £100 to clean your house. You would need to get like maybe 10 of them every single week for it to be like £1,000, and then at that you're probably not even going to get the £1,000. That's £1,000 for the revenue of that business. You might only get, let's say, 20% of that, so you're only actually getting £20 per inquiry. even if you were seriously good at that, right? You're only looking at maybe what, I don't know, maybe £1,000 at the end of the month that you're getting. So I'm not even that interested. Whereas with, like, for example, commercial office cleaning, it might be like a block of offices that you might need to that you get the inquiry for, and that might be like a £4,000 job every single month as well. So at that, I'm like, right, okay, if we can get maybe 4 of these, that website's going to be earning 25, 30K very, very quickly. And so if you can start doing that, and also another thing as well is if you can think of industries that are like reoccurring, because then you can obviously strike that deal with the business owner. You're like, well, I got you this lead here, and obviously that lead's going to be signing, let's say, a 12-month cleaning deal with you. Then you can get paid every single month. So if you can think of industries like that, a lot of people, like, for example, plumbing, it's just a one-off industry.
Yep, makes perfect sense. Do you do only website SEO for your rank and win, or do you actually integrate GMB also with that?
It depends. So if we can obviously get a GMB, we try to get a GMB. If we can't, we can't. It completely comes down to like the actual client itself. If they're open with us getting them a GMB, then they can. In some cases, they only want web lead forms. In some cases, they only want telephone calls. So it depends. Like, for example, if I was going to partner up with a locksmith, you'd probably want a GMB in that case, because a lot of people will want a phone call. They're not going to want to actually ring, they're not actually going to want to fill a contact form out if they're locked out their house.
Do you find a partner first, or do you first rank a website and then try finding a partner?
We rank the website first. A lot of people say that's a stupid idea, but how I see it is, like, every single website that we build out typically costs us about 10 grand. And that website, worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, it might earn us nothing, right? But if we like a website that we class as like a losing website might only like earn us like £500 a month, right? But if you think of that, there's a lot of people in the real estate space that would invest maybe 100K into a property to rent out that would only yield them, or they would only get £500 a month. If you think of it, if you're investing 10 grand into a website, or even let's say 20 grand into a website, and it's getting you £500 a month, that's still like a win. You're still going to get your money back over time. It's obviously not going to be as successful as, let's say, a commercial cleaning website that's earning you 6-7 grand a month, but it's still a slight win. It's definitely not as bad as being a complete loser. But we always build the websites out first, and then we approach the clients.
Gotcha, makes perfect sense. How much do you usually invest in the SEO of that website?
It's probably not the answer that you want, but it comes down to the difficultiness of the actual area that we want to rank in. Like, for example, if we're trying to rank a website in New York, let's say, in the law space, right, that might be like a serious investment that we need to do. Whereas if it's like a cleaning website in, I don't know, Wyoming, where it's a lot less dense, there's a lot less competitors, that's going to be way less investment. So it comes down to the industry, so the niche, comes down to the competitors, how much they're spending, and it also comes down to the location as well.
Let's take an example of a plumbing website that you talked about. Let's take, for instance, it's a city called as St. Louis, and you build a plumbing or HVAC website there. How much do you usually invest in the SEO of that? And a follow-up question to that: do enough leads really come from working only on websites? Saying this because I have been working a lot on these industry and recently niched down to just one. What I have been seeing is Google is actually showing up a lot of ads, a lot actually. So if 100 of searches are there, on a particular keyword, you don't really see a lot of leads or a lot of searchers going towards the website. Although it's obvious that they do actually click that, But what's your experiment and what's your view on that? How many percentage of the clicks do you usually see coming to the top two ranking sites?
So we see a significant amount of leads, but typically speaking, if it's an industry like that we know that's going to earn us money, like let's say it's like for example HVAC, right? I don't have an issue building out 15 websites in HVAC because I know that there's going to be a lot of people that want HVAC leads. And if you can dominate the first page or let's say certain areas over St. Louis, like let's say you do an exact match domain for a certain town. If you're doing like a lot of stuff like that, you can see a lot of traffic very, very quickly. And you can also see a lot of leads as well. Another thing to bear in mind as well is a lot of people, when they complain about not getting any inquiries, it might be down to the fact that their website absolutely sucks in terms of like the SEO might be like really good, but even if you were to get 1 million visits to your website, but you just have a button for your contact page at the very, very bottom of your website, right? Your CRO sucks at that point. So focus on your CRO, especially if you are getting traffic and stuff. One thing that I will say is with PPC and stuff like that, in the UK anyway, a lot of people they don't, or like obviously there's a lot of people that do click the PPC listing. What you will find is in some cases people don't like the PPC listings. They kind of see it as like a cheat way, so they trust the SEO pages first. And another thing as well is try to, like, when you're doing your keyword research, don't just focus on bottom of the funnel keywords, because I feel like a lot of SEOs, they do that and then they're like, oh well, my SEO didn't work. And it's like, well, your SEO probably didn't work because maybe your CRO sucks, or maybe you need to go after more keywords that are maybe not as targeted as what you think it needs to be. So, for example, if I do, let's say, lawyers near me, right? I'm pretty much like ready to inquire with maybe 2 or 3 different law firms. Whereas if I'm searching like 10 questions to ask my lawyer before I hire them, if you've got a page like that as well, that can drive you a lot of clicks, and also a lot of like email form submissions, because you've kind of educated them, and now they're like, well, actually, this law firm's telling me I need to ask these 10 questions. I'm actually just going to inquire with this law firm because they might actually just be able to help with my case. So if you can think of articles like that, like I like to call that like middle of the funnel. People that are searching that, they know they need a lawyer, but they just don't know how to go about hiring a lawyer. And then obviously you've got like top of the funnel keywords as well, and top of the funnel might be like super broad, but like the intent's very, very low. And what I mean by that could be like how much does a lawyer charge, something like that. That's super broad. You still don't know if they need a lawyer. They might decide to do it themselves as soon as they see the pricing. You're kind of hoping on the fact that they're just going to see the price and they're like, actually, do you know what, it's probably better that I just hire a lawyer. And again, that can still drive you inquiries, but it might get a lot of searches, it might get a lot of clicks, but might not get that many serious buyers for your service or your product.
Makes perfect sense. What do you think about the changes happening in SEO? I'm mainly talking about the AI and stuff coming up. What do you think? What's gonna happen with this?
What's EIN? What?
I said, I'm mainly talking about the AI and stuff. It's coming. It's already there. What do you think about
the AI?
Yeah. What
right, okay.
Changes happening in SEO?
So Ryan Stewart done a really good post on this, and obviously, like, he tested like the amount of clicks. So what's the AI overview? I think it's called, right? I think that's what Google calls it. And then obviously you've got Microsoft's Copilot. Yeah. I think SG was the old name, and now they're calling it AI overview. And then you've got Bing that obviously uses Copilot and stuff. So Ryan Stewart, probably about 6 weeks ago now, done a post on LinkedIn and Twitter. Highly recommend you guys follow him and stuff. But done a post saying that he's actually gotten more clicks and traffic from the AI overview because of it. And he had his thought process, and he also had his like the reasoning as to why he thinks, because obviously in the AI overview, there's obviously the AI answer, and then there's like free click results to actual websites. And I was like, oh, that's quite interesting. So then I decided to then get into the AI overview. And I saw the exact same case where, for example, for that specific keyword, I went from getting 1,400 clicks onto my website per month up to 1,700 clicks to my website. So the actual clicks did increase because of the AI overview. Now, what I think that SEOs, and again, you might ask me in 6 months' time, we might do another podcast in a year's time, and my answer might change. But right now, where I think the SEOs will pivot to is like we're going to probably start doing SEO for AI overviews. I think that that's probably the next big move. And again, one thing to bear in mind as well is with local, there's not that many AI overviews. It's more so for like the affiliate keywords, maybe a little bit more for like the e-commerce keywords. So if you're in those spaces, you might need to just understand a little bit more on how to essentially get into that AI overview. But again, like a lot of people think SEO is dead or whatever. And I heard that maybe 3 years ago when featured snippets came out. They were like, oh my God, SEO's dying. A lot of people sold their websites back then. And if anything, the featured snippets actually increased clicks through to your website. Again, it's like, I know that Google has a bad rep at the minute where they've hit a load of websites which the website owners feel like they shouldn't have been hit. I do think that with the AI overview, I think, again, I could be wrong in saying this, but I think that you will probably see an increased amount in clicks after being able to actually get in that AI overview pack, if that's what you want to call it.
Following up on your answer, how do you optimize for that AI overview?
A lot of hard work. So with the AI overview, it's obviously, to my understanding, it's just a massive LLM. So the more mentions you have over the web of people searching for, let's say, a certain keyword, and if your brand or your product or your service is getting mentioned loads across the web, you have a much higher chance of actually being optimized and getting into the AI overview. That's how I've been able to essentially do it. Now, I don't know if they're going to change that, but that currently works at the minute very, very well.
So eventually it comes down to link building again, right?
Yeah, a lot of the white hats probably don't want to hear me say that, but yeah, it comes down to EAT signals, which is obviously like off-page EAT is literally just link building. And if you obviously do have, like, don't get me wrong, like the content that's on your website, that does matter as well. So if you can get like some seriously good content on your website that is correlating to the links, it's almost a better way to look at it, right? Because one thing I don't want people to do is think all you need is links, but you should try to focus on actually ranking your guest posts. So I think guest posting is kind of like it's not as great as what it used to be, like maybe 2-3 years ago. I think that a lot of people should be focused more on power posts. So power post is essentially like actually finding out what that website is talking about. So let's say, for example, if I was going to rank, let's say, for example, if I have a yacht website, I've actually used this scenario before. I had a link building client and he has a super yacht website. Bearing in mind, like, people that can afford yachts is like maybe like the top 5% of the world. Like, not everybody can afford like a super yacht, like a £5 million yacht or a £15 million yacht. So this is what this guy done, and he basically had listened to all the SEO gurus and was like, right, I want other yacht websites that have like a DR90, they get tons of traffic, and that's what I want. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Like, even if I was to rank all of your keywords number one tomorrow, if I was to just click my fingers and you're position one, you're not going to get that much traffic, because think of the type of person that's buying a yacht. It's probably maybe somebody that's retired, maybe a Russian millionaire, right? There's I don't know, maybe 500 people a month that search for buy a yacht online. Or, well, there's probably more than that, but there's probably 500 people a month that's actually like looking to actually buy a yacht, right? There's not that many people. So then he was like, right, okay, well, what do you recommend for my link building? So then I was like, well, hold on a minute. Well, why do you not get a link from a finance website? And he's like, well, finance hasn't got anything to do with yachts. And I'm like, well, you're actually wrong, because a lot of people that buy yachts, they actually take out finance. So having a power post that's actually ranking for like yacht finance and how to get yacht finance, and it's linking to your yacht website, that's actually driving you a lot more clicks and a lot more traffic and a lot more referrals and stuff. As soon as I explain that to him, and that's more like what a power post is. It's not seriously like about relevance, because that's what a lot of people get misunderstood on when it comes to link building. They're like, I only want relevant links, and I'm like, well, if you only have relevant links, that's a footprint in itself. So yeah, I think that's what people should be focusing on. And if you have certain links like that that's pointing through to your website, you have a much higher chance of actually ranking in the AI overview. Like, I don't know if there is an AI overview for this, but there might be in 12 months time, or there might be in 6 months time, for like, how can I get finance for a yacht, right? And if there's maybe like 1 or 2 articles talking about your brand and how you accept finance for yachts, or maybe you've actually got somebody that can do the finance for somebody that's looking to buy a yacht, then you're essentially become the actual authority figure, and you're going to actually drive more clicks from the overview as well.
That's a fantastic strategy. So the key here is to find the intent and relevancy and connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
So talking a bit about link building, let's say you've got a budget of just $1,000, okay, and you're ranking, let's say a tree surgeon website on Google in a city with 100K population. How would you spend it on links? Eventually, that would help you, rank on Google. How would you do that?
How would I spend it on links? So what I would be looking to do is obviously setting up like your foundational links. Your foundational links, they're fairly cheap as well. Like if I've got $1,000, did you say $1,000 or $1,000 every single month?
I said you just got $1,000 in total.
Right. Okay. $1,000 in total. So to be honest, I think that is probably very possible. So I think that what I would be looking to do is building out some citations. Getting your foundational links set up correctly is super important. Getting your citations done. I would probably be looking at like anywhere between like 300 to 500 citations, and that should probably cost you around $300 to $500 to do that. Then running them all through an indexer, so making certain that you are using unique descriptions, using unique photos on every single citation, or as many citations as you possibly can, and then running them through an indexer. So, for example, there's tons of indexing tools like Indexceptional. You can head over to that, running it through that, getting the links indexed, then doing a digital PR service. Digital PR, I think the cheapest at the minute is maybe $250. I'm probably at about $750. Well, actually, do you know what? I'll go with 300 citations at $1 citations. We'll do, let's say, I don't know, $50 for the actual index, and we'll do $250 for the PR. So what am I at now? I'm at $600, so I've got $400 left. I would then probably look to do some link insertions, so maybe some like niche edits. Maybe like if I can get some cheap niche edits, like I don't know how much a niche edit is at the minute, but even if I can get like maybe 1 or 2, that should be enough for a lot of tree surgeon websites. Again, if I had maybe a little bit more, I would like to do maybe like 10 guest posts, or maybe even 5 guest posts and 5 link insertions. So I'm getting power, and I'm also getting relevance as well. And that would be enough for a lot of tree surgeon websites.
Gotcha. Makes perfect sense. Shifting the interview a bit towards the SEO side and more of, selling SEO and stuff like that. What's one tip you would like to give to new SEOs, who are still looking for success in this industry?
So it depends on what they want to do. If they What would I recommend? So if you want to get good at ranking a website very, very quickly, what I would recommend is go and register maybe like 2 or 3 test domains and just test out like different strategies. Treat every day like being a school day. Because a lot of people, what they do is they'll just listen and they'll watch podcasts, or they'll listen and they'll watch YouTube videos, and they think they're doing SEO, and it's not necessarily the case. The most learning that I've ever done is by breaking websites, by burning websites, by literally just destroying websites. Like I'm not scared to admit that I've broke websites, I've destroyed websites, I've de-indexed websites, I've done it all. But the reason why I can sit here on this podcast and be so confident when I'm on stage and talking about SEO is because I've messed up so many times, and I've been like, I've de-indexed a 400-page website. Okay, let me just go back in and press re-index. And again, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you de-indexed the website. Didn't the website burn and crash? And it's like, no, because guess what? As soon as you press de-index, you get all your rankings back. Or you get a lot of your rankings back. I think that the biggest thing that people can do is maybe like watch a few of your videos or watch a few of my videos and just start to implement like what we're actually saying. And over time, you're going to get better. Another thing that you can also do as well, and I think that people don't take advantage of this, is the fact that you've got coaching, like yourself, like you hired me for an hour a few months ago. And we were talking about link building, and you were like, how can I scale a link building agency? And I told you, and even prior to the call, you were like, hey, Kaz, I know that you're involved in Search.ru and it's a direct competitor and stuff. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Because guess what? There's so much money to be made in SEO. Like, I don't see, like, a lot of people are shocked that myself and like 6 of the other biggest link building agencies, we're all friends. Like when we go to conferences, they're like, why are you speaking with Matt? He owns ABC. Or why are you speaking with Joe Davies? He owns Fat Joe. Or why are you speaking with Chris? He owns Sir Links-a-lot. Like at the end of the day, we're all friends. A lot of people probably are a little bit confused, but that's the honest answer. There's a lot of people that are willing to essentially help you. Like I wish the one thing that I wish I had a lot sooner in terms of SEO is an actual mentor, because the first maybe 8 months of me learning SEO, maybe the first like 9 or 10 months of me learning SEO, all I was doing is like learning on the actual job, and I just didn't know what I should prioritize. Like, should I be optimizing my meta descriptions? Is that going to get me to position 1, or is the H1 and the page title going to yield more value, or is link building going to help me a lot more, or should I ignore all of that first and focus more so on like the technical SEO side? So doing stuff like just maybe even having like a monthly call, like find a mentor. That's what I would say. Like a lot of people, when they go to the gym and they want to get bigger and they want to get like abs or bigger muscles and stuff, guess what? They'll hire a coach, they'll hire a personal trainer. What I don't understand is a lot of people think that they shouldn't hire a personal trainer, or they shouldn't hire like a mentor for SEO. They think that this mentor is going to start selling them like loads of stuff. Like I can tell for a fact, like when I done the call with yourself, I didn't try to sell you anything. You just had like maybe a list of 20, 30 questions, and you were like, right, okay, I'm done. I just kind of told you like, no, don't do this, or maybe focus more on this because this is going to yield more results. So doing calls like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If anything, I'm a massive advocate of it.
Makes perfect sense. Coming to the last question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? On what stuff do you think you would be mainly working on?
Do you know what? I gave up long-term goals, and the reason for that is because, well, not necessarily long-term goals, but I used to have a lot of long-term goals, and very quickly you realize that I'm not going to achieve that in the next 1 year. I'm going to achieve that in maybe 4 years' time. So I'm not even going to focus on that. right now I do a lot more short-term goals. Let's say for a long-term, like over the next 5 years, hopefully within the next 2 years, I would have sold one of the brick and mortar style businesses that we're talking about for a much, much higher multiple that I invested into. That's one of the things. The thing is, it's not necessarily like a 5-year goal or a 2-year goal. I know that that's kind of going to happen because of just like looking at the trajectory, looking at the P&L and stuff like that. So there's certain goals like that I have. Maybe in the next 5 years. Does it need to be SEO related or
in a general business sense?
General business? Okay, so in the next 5 years, I hope that maybe not hope, I know that I would have invested in more businesses because, again, like yourself, we're both very young and we're both very hungry and we want to be grown. So I know that I would have probably invested in maybe 6 more businesses in 5 years' time. That's one thing. And then also having like a positive impact on, maybe not in the business sense, but more so in the SEO sense. Like there's so much negativity in the actual space. Like it's almost, and I never really understood this until I started getting more of a following. And with a following, you get more haters. And with haters, you get people that kind of want to see you fall, like not physically fall, but like fall off your high horse type thing. And I just don't think that there's like, there shouldn't be a space in it. So if by doing more of these podcasts, I can positively impact even 2 people listening to this podcast, then I feel like I've done my job here. So just having an overall more positive impact within the SEO space. I think that it's very negative, especially after everybody's that's been hit by the HCU. I feel like everyone's kind of got bad blood in that case. So yeah, if I can positively impact people's life by either speaking to them, by doing calls with them, mentorship calls, like the biggest piece of like success that I've had in recent times is doing the mentor calls, because now like I'll actively go on your Facebook page and you're getting more results and you're doing the things that I told you. So I'm like, I feel happy because of that. Whereas like maybe like 4 years ago, I was more so focused on how much money I can earn. And now I'm like, right, okay, I'm earning enough money. Obviously I do want to earn more money. But now I'm like, right, okay, how many people can I positively impact on this journey? Like recently I had a person that had done multiple consultancy calls with myself and they had sold their website literally within like the past 6 weeks. And they basically just like said, you were like kind of like a gift. Like I think they'd done maybe 12 calls with me over a 12-month period. So 1 call every single month. And I was kind of like helping them, like, you should do this, you should focus on that, do this, just guiding them through it. And I even, some of the calls near the end, I was also telling them like what they should be looking at for a multiple and like kind of helping them on the sell side of stuff. And they were massively thankful after that, and they've sold for 7 figures. Sorry, 6 figures, not 7 figures. And they've literally just been able to, like, that one website flip that they've done. They've now been able to pay off their mortgage. They're happy as ever. So doing certain things like that's massively like a positive thing for myself. So yeah, doing more of that, I feel like even maybe not in the over a 5-year period, even like in this next 6 months, just want to do more of that.
So that sounds great. That was it from my side. Do you have anything to add here?
No, that's it. I think that I think that anybody that's listened to 1 hour and 1 minute of me rambling feel they should definitely subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, that was it. That was it for today. I hope you liked the video, and obviously the talk from Kasra. I would be inviting him again. That was it. We'll see on the next one. Till then, bye bye. Have a great day.